All right, yeah, let's dive into some Outfoxed here.
Nice.
I'm really excited to play this game again because it's been a long while.
Yeah, this game was actually made not in a like regular jam. I just asked my patrons to send me like words, and I'd try and like make a game around them. So I did like this little video on my channel where I had all the like words they sent me on note cards, and I was just sort of like talking through my process. So a lot of the mechanics you'll see in this, we got like duck and fox and like different words like that, and that's why it's that fox thief. And I think like stealth was one of them, and pinball was another one, which is why you bounce when you hit a wall when you're running fast.
Yeah, because it took, like, when I first booted this game up and played it for the first time, I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm running and I'm just like sliding around, like, what is happening? And then you're like, and then what? But once you wrangle it, again, it's like that kind of risk reward of like, do I want to sprint through here? Like, can I make it fast enough? Like,
yeah, running is very like, because you have to run to break through windows, and like that'll make a sound and that'll call the guards. And yeah, this was a very ambitious little game. So if you go straight through this thing, you'll get to the regular Outfoxed.
Okay, level. I was just gonna say, yeah, which level do I pick here? Because yeah, I know the one I played was just like one single level, but yeah, this looks very different. I feel.
Yeah,
a little souped up.
Mansion Classic to the right is the regular level, and this is another game where you kind of choose when you're done. Like, you can literally just walk back the other way, and you'll see credits.
Yeah, so. I love that. I ended up. Oh shit! I ended up. Oh no! This was a mistake.
Hey Ando, how's it going, man?
Yeah, what's going on, Ando? Okay, let's run around the building. I didn't mean to trigger those people. I probably could have just went through a door.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember like playing around with like the charge speed of the dogs, the guard dogs, and I just decided to make it like ridiculously fast because it was funnier that way when they ricocheted everywhere.
Yeah, they just slam you across the screen.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious, like, do they eventually lose interest in me, or are they just, now that they know I'm here, they're permanently...
Yeah, they'll go and like wander around and try and find the way back to their own patrol route. So this is me like kind of attempting to do AI stuff. Basically, every guard dog follows like the same little path, and those paths are just little nodes that they walk towards.
Okay.
And they'll just follow their path, but if they see you, they have to go off that path. And once they're off that path, they have to figure out how to get home again.
I see.
Otherwise, they'll just bump into walls like dummies. And I think there's probably still some ways you can like get guards stuck, probably. But the solution ended up being having this like treating every guard dog's route as like a little like a side road, and then there's this highway that goes all around the mansion, and that's the route the duck walks on.
Okay.
So the duck's walking this big long route around everything. So when a guard dog gets lost, it goes on the duck route until it finds its home path again.
Yeah. Dead as can be. But now, okay, now because I was like, because once you like trigger the guards, that music changes, and I was just like, okay, can I get them to calm down again?
Yeah.
Because I did.
That track is so funky that I just kind of let it.
Yeah, it feels appropriate because it's like, okay, they know I'm here now, so yeah, no other way to do it.
For future reference, there is a tutorial skip where if you just go down, one of the paintings is situated on a window, so you can just crash through the two windows and immediately skip. Gotta
love that. But I do love when a game like kind of starts at like the main screen is kind of like a tutorial, when it's something quick and easy like that. But okay, let's not play like a fucking dumbass here. And try to play a little more cautiously, because I did a run of this game, and I'm pretty sure it's in the I don't know if I streamed it or if it was just a regular video or whatever, but I got every single piece of treasure to the best of my knowledge. There might be something I missed that like I didn't know you could steal something. Because I think you said you were like, did you get the keys off the guard or whatever?
Every dog has a wallet on their back, and you can steal the wallet. I haven't done a full wallet run yet.
Yeah,
but I just threw that in for the real Outfoxed heads out there.
That's maniacal, yeah. But like as soon as you realize it can be done, oh no, they spotted me. No, come on. Yeah, but I love it. You're dead. And yeah, the music is just jamming, so fun. Joe just kills it every time.
Yeah.
Like it's always very memorable, you know. It's not just like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's like, no, this is very good, and I'm gonna hum this later on.
yeah. When I'm working on these games, like I definitely get the song stuck in my head. Some of my favorite memories of pre-pandemic times was going to see Joe Keneally play shows in Somerville, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston.
Oh heck yeah, that sounds awesome.
He's a fantastic musician, and you should look up his he does good bluegrass and original folk music and stuff. So if you like his video game tunes, you're gonna love his regular music.
Nice. Okay, let's see. These guards are fucking hovering. Okay, but I'm in the. Oh dang it! Just when I was getting in the bedroom. Oh.
My biggest regret in this game is that you can't open the fridge.
I know, I keep thinking there's got to be something in there, some kind of meal I can steal.
I never got around to it, unfortunately. It's my hugest regret. Like, look out for that in Outfoxed 2. The first thing you'll be able to do is steal stuff from the fridge.
Yeah, and this is another game that has, like, it's not quite like a Pico 8 aesthetic, but it still kind of has that, like, I don't know.
Limited color palette.
Yeah, is that all it is? And I don't know, there's something about it. I love the style of this game. It's so cool.
This is sort of like an expanded hack style where, for the most part, colors don't touch. And like there's a lot of like black to give things emphasis. There aren't really a whole lot of halftones on things.
Yeah, I feel like you did that with like even in Blink Blanc, like the way the cat is kind of outlined, like it just really pops off the screen in a really cool way.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like just sort of like copying myself a lot of the time, but I guess that's just what developing a style is.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that in my eyes, especially when your style is this good.
Thanks, bud.
I'd be jocking my own style all the time if I had this skill set.
This game was like really tough for me, mostly because my ideas were like I had all these like ideas from the patrons, and I was like, oh, I could do this or I could do this, and like I was like, I'm just gonna make a good stealth game, you know? And that's like the repeating pitfall is I'm just gonna make a good game in this genre. And it's like if I build around a mechanic like I did in Blink Blanc, like that game was like easy and fun and everybody loved it, and I didn't lose any sleep over it.
Which is crazy because it feels like a incredibly well thought out like if you were like, oh, I spent months and months on this game, I'd be like, yeah, no, you can tell for sure, you know?
Thanks, man. Well, like, I love that you made it like a week-long sort of thing.
Yeah, I wanted it to be, because I know, at first I was like thinking about making it a month, because I was like, oh, it'll be like no pressure, month-long jam, and then everyone was like, oh, that's way too long, man. I was like, okay, how about a week? Because, yeah, I don't want it to be like an overly committal thing where you feel like, oh, I gotta spend a whole month working on this game. I wanted it to be more like, oh, hey, I got a few free days that week, so yeah, I'm gonna do that jam. Or like, oh, I didn't realize that jam was going on, and oh, it's halfway over, but I still have 4 days, and that's more than I have for a regular jam most of the time, so.
Yeah, because I make games full-time, and because, like, my other gig is editing podcasts that mostly my friends make.
Nice.
I had a lot of time. I could just, like, take that whole week to sort of make the game, and I just took a day just to think. Like, I didn't touch code, I didn't make art, I just kind of, like, sat around and like thought about the game with my notebook open, just like writing down little ideas, and that helped a lot. Like that helped me really figure out like how to do something like directly. And I'm really proud of Blink Blanc. I think it's like one of my favorite Super Try games.
I agree. It's one of my favorites. And to be fair, I'm a sucker for a platformer and a puzzle platformer at that. But like, I think I said when I was playing it before, like during the jam when I was doing the streams and stuff, like I tend to like never finish Metroidvania games. And like when it's something like a little more like scoped on a level where it's like, oh, I can beat this in one sitting. Okay, maybe I will actually beat this game. And it's just, the level design is just so clever. Cool mechanics getting introduced at a good clip. Like, it's a really cool game.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really, really like that one. I do like to go back and play my games when I've kind of like forgot like what I did exactly, because I'm like, oh man, whoever made this like has my exact sensibilities in mind.
That's awesome. Okay, so you're saying I can smash through one of these windows, the middle one? Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, you can just smash and go right in.
Nice. And somebody said it earlier, I forget who said it in the chat, but they said that they thought the dog guards looked like walruses, and I thought that too when and then when I looked at the cover art, like I was like, how did I not realize they were like dogs?
Yeah, they're like bulldogs. French bulldogs. We decided to make this French for some reason, so all of your money is in francs.
Oh, it's perfect. Okay, so what do you think? Do I go up or down here to check out one of these other levels?
I actually really like up. The baby mansion is just a single screen sort of thing, and I like how it really like compacts everything into one idea. So. Yeah,
okay, let's go in. I at first I was thinking it was gonna be like a baby's mansion, like there's gonna be a little baby owning the property here.
No, that would take new assets. This is all like the Taco Bell menu, like just sort of reconstituted stuff.
Yeah, and I can't fully get a grasp on like what trigger. I mean, I love all the visual indicators, like the circle around like your footsteps, you know, kind of like I feel like maybe a little bit of Mark of the Ninja inspiration. I don't know if you're a fan of that game, but
very much, yeah.
Love that game. And yeah, just all the readability, like just knowing, okay, this is what's gonna happen. This is the flashlight. This is where this guard can see. You know, there's like everything is very upfront, I feel, which I love.
A lot of this game, like the sounds at least depend on like how fast you're going. So like if you go through a door slowly, you won't make much of a sound. But if you run through a door, it'll slam behind you.
Okay, and what does it mean that I have this giant sword in my hand now? Can I attack with this or anything?
You're now wide, so it's going to be more difficult for you to go through doors. So your hitbox has changed, and you're going to bump around on stuff a little bit more.
That's right, I do remember that.
I forget, that was a suggestion too. I thought it'd be funny if some of the stuff you stole didn't like fit neatly into your bag. Like, you had to sort of like figure out a way to like live with them or whatever. So yeah, the sword will just like kind of be too wide for some openings, and you have to really like be precise about getting through the doors. It just makes, you know, getting caught even harder.
Yeah, I love it. I love too that it just says like wide plus, or like the little wide indicator at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
Wide load, baby.
Wide load.
Okay, so what is does the black arrow, the black and red arrow, just means that's where the exit's at, or?
Yeah, the little flat. Yeah, the when you're at 1 health, I'm like, get out of there, dude. Like you're gonna leave with no score. So I do the little flashing arrow to show you. I
see. And even I love that, like, indicate, like, even again on that tutorial screen, just like, okay, here's your like the guard. Here's how but they're like trapped. Like, I don't know. I love when you just like teach the mechanics like in one single little screen. It's crazy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I always like it when running away is a viable option in a game. You'll notice that in Ion Smoke and in Outfoxed, where there's a runaway mechanic or cut your losses mechanic. I don't know. I always think that's like cool.
It is really cool. Yeah, it is a fun. Like it's another way to do risk reward in a way, you know.
It also takes the pressure off of me, because like I told you to get out of there, so you were just greedy. So you can't be mad at me. You can just be mad at you. Which one of my favorite games is a roguelike called Azure Dreams. It's a sort of like Mystery Dungeon or Shiren the Wanderer or any of those like Japanese Mystery Dungeon roguelikes.
Okay.
But it has this sort of mechanic in it where you need an item to get out of the dungeon. So you can go like raise your monsters or whatever, and then go back in the dungeon with your leveled up monsters and kick ass. But if you die, you lose all your items and stuff. So you have this item that lets you book it back to town, but you gotta start the dungeon over again. So you basically kind of decide when you die. Like, you can look at a situation and be like, I could die here and lose everything, or I could fold and walk away gracefully.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like a gambling mechanic almost, you know?
Exactly, yeah. But like, I find that sort of mechanic to be really useful for like taking pressure off of me as a developer, being like, yeah, you know, go like do your best, but like know when to quit, like know your own limits. Like, you're not going to get it perfect the first time, so just like you decide what's good about the game. Then that's another linking thing about Princess French Fries is like, you know, I'll tell you how many times you died, and you just have to get like a score, and you decide what the score is.
Yeah,
it's sort of like a everything's meaningless sort of vibe.
Yeah, or place the challenge on yourself. I mean, you were generous enough to put the spicy mode to be like, okay, but you can easily just impose that challenge on yourself if it wasn't there. Be like, okay, I can die a million times, or I can try to beat it without dying. You know, like, you can just kind of set the challenge for yourself. And I do like when games have that perspective as well, or take that approach.
Even then, it's sort of like, what do you want to do? What would be fun for you? Like, we're two, the player and the game developer are both trying to have a good experience. Like, we're both trying to make something cool happen.
Yeah, it's like for the people that like to 100% stuff, like, it's there for you to do if you want to, and if you just want to kind of be like, oh, these are some cool mechanics, I got the experience I wanted to have in a few minutes, like, you know, just do whatever you want to do with, I like when games kind of let you do your own thing, let you freestyle it a little bit. I'm getting...
Kirikol in chat is an Azure Games fan, awesome. I always love to see people out there.
Nice, heck yeah. Yeah, they were even saying that your game a month thing inspired them to release some of their own stuff, so that's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend, like, if you're trying to build a Patreon, it might be a good way to do it because it's big and flashy. It's just a shit ton of work, dude. Like, there must be a better way. Like, this can't be the best idea. But like, I'm always happy to hear that my games like inspire folks to put their own stuff out, because I don't know, I always think more games is good, and I think you'd agree.
Yeah, and I think even if you wouldn't necessarily say like, yeah, maybe the 12 games a month or 12 games a year is not the best idea, but I think it might have just been like, I know for the Pursuing Pixels podcast, like Randall and I would talk about, we got to start a blog, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then it was just like, just do it. Just start it. Like, do the first one, and then what? So, like, just making the commitment to, like, actually do it was really the main thing that put it over the hump for me. It was just like, okay, just commit to something. It doesn't have to be a game every month. It could be something small. Just put something out there, but just, like, make the commitment to release something, I guess, is, you know.
The worst thing that can happen to you is the first time you try something like making a game or a podcast, the first one you make is the best one, and it never gets any better than that.
Oh, yeah. So, when an album, when the first song is, like, the best song, you're like, oh, this is going to be amazing, and then you're just kind of like, man, that first song's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the same for when you're making anything. Like, I feel like when there's a lot, like, I love music so much, but I don't make my own music because I think I don't love music enough that I love to be bad at it. And I love games, but I love being bad at making games, and that, like, in my early days, that got me, like, enough, like, I finished enough projects that way that I got some amount of skill making games, I feel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't sell yourself short here, because you're certainly not bad at making games. But everybody, you gotta start somewhere. Like, you're definitely gonna make a bad song or make a bad game when you first start out. Yeah, if your first thing is, I think I saw somebody, it was just some meme or something where it was like, this is, when you're like somebody daydreaming about like their dream project, and then like, but when your dream project is your first project, like, probably not the best idea,
Yeah, and that was my situation. My first project was a game called Project Maiden. And in 2013, I did a Kickstarter, and I got a fair amount of money to make the game. And I was like, I'd never released a video game before, but this was like in the early days of Kickstarter, where you could just say, I want to make a game, and people would help you.
Yeah.
And I suddenly had to make my dream game, or die. So And so I just kind of figured it out, and I made, you know, a really interesting, unique, but pretty terrible game. It's not that Project Maid's terrible. I worked for 2 years on that thing. It's got some great ideas in it, but it's, you know, it's my first game. It's my first album or whatever. Like I was still a baby bird. Like I don't know. I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can see things in it now where you're like potential in it now where you're like, oh, I wish I knew now what I know then. But you can say that with about everything. Again, you'd never release anything if you. Yeah. You know, if you always were thinking, oh, but it could be better if I take a little longer on it, you know, with any creative process, you know?
Yeah, I might not have had the willpower to keep going on that game if it wasn't my dream project, and if I hadn't, like, gotten everybody riled up to help me make it, and, like, if I hadn't done all these things that I think a lot of people suggest you don't do, like, I don't know, all of it just sort of drove me toward, like, finishing this one game, which took 2 years, and that sort of led to Hack into a lot of other, like, games I've made. So yeah, like, maybe make your first game a little bit of a smaller project, but whatever you need to do to make a thing, just, like, start and finish it.
Yeah. And don't beat yourself up over it if it doesn't end up exactly what you wanted, you know, just learn from the process and try again next time, you know, if you feel so inclined. Maybe you might go, hey, you know, this isn't quite for me, and that's okay too sometimes.
Totally, yeah. I don't know. It's I know there's a lot of talk with, like, Unity, like, you know, Unity being terrible right now. And,
yeah, well, even with Game Maker, when they first, like, went to yo-yo games and whatever, and it's like all of a sudden there's, like, all these changes. What happened to my, you know, there's this, you never know what's gonna happen. Yeah, but
yeah, and I see a lot of people being like, now is a terrible time to make video games, and it's always been a terrible time to make video games.
Yeah, and you constantly see people saying, like, oh, there's a million games being released every day, so nobody needs your game. And it's like, well, that's not a good attitude to have, because a million of those, like, a bunch of those million games are really freaking cool, you know? Like,
and besides the fact you might need your game. Like,
right, yeah, that's a really great, I don't know, I hadn't even thought of it about that, but yeah, sometimes you do need to just get that, like, creative something out of your system, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think, I can't help but imagine, like, a version of myself who's, like, an accountant, and I do, like, video games as a hobby or something like that, and, like, I would still be making something, but it wouldn't be, like, my main gig. And
yeah, like, just making, like, mobile games and pumping stuff out that it's like, okay, it functions, but it's like I'm just, you know, like, 'cause it's a feasible way to make a living, it seems, but it's like, yeah, it's like, would you really be getting it? Would you be getting the satisfaction that you get out of making stuff like this, you know? Probably not the same, you know? So. Yeah.
I don't really play a lot of mobile games. So.
Right. And that's not that I've played some awesome mobile games, so that's not just a slight on, like, the format in general.
There may be a mobile game coming up in this playlist.
Yes. And I know you mentioned the credits on Princess French Fries, I think it was, but the credits on this game were also just absolutely amazing, like that little bit of interactivity. And I know
walking around, taking it at your own pace, listen to that Joe Keneally music.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, just chill. So much tunage in this game. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think Joe, the thing that, like, the suggestion that made us go this way for the soundtrack is one of my index cards said funk on it, which was a patron suggestion. So I was like, Joe, can you do funk? And he's like, I think so.
It's like, I got it covered.
Yeah,
very.
Like, sure.
Joe is quite the versatile musician. That is for sure.
Yeah, I don't think Super Try games would have half the charm they do if Joe wasn't my musician, because a lot of the times I sort of, like, figure out my games once I hear the music. I don't really give Joe a lot to work off of. He just kind of makes music, like, off of my suggestions.
Okay.
So...
Because, it gives your games a certain energy, and sometimes that energy is, like, a lack thereof, if that makes sense. Like, it's like with Hack, you know, there's a lot of music in that game that's like when you first boot up, like, it feels like you're, like, in this boggy swamp that's, like, a little bit, like, lazy, and, like, it just has the perfect feeling for, like, the start of a run of a roguelike, where you're just like, what's even happening in this game? And
I feel like that like first like noodly like like hack guitar like really catches a lot of people off guard.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Joe, how long can you play guitar for? That was the prompt, is just make a really, really long like guitar track.
Yeah.
And he did, and it was good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love too how this game is like essentially like, other than the movement, but it's like it's a one input game, like that, you know, run and steal is basically the same button. So it's like, yeah, it's just like this game could easily be like a suit, like again, like it's kind of inspired by Hitman. I feel, at least to some degree. But like Hitman, there's a million buttons. I'm always like hitting the wrong button. Not that I play a ton of Hitman, but we did actually talk about Hitman on the very first episode of the Pursuing Pixels podcast, because we were like, let's play something out of like our normal comfort zone of like the retro stuff and the and I don't suggest you go back and listen to the first. Speaking of the very first thing, don't go back and listen to the first episode of the Pursuing Pixels podcast. At least not until you listen to the other ones and go, okay, if you like it already and you want to see where we started, go ahead. But definitely not like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm so proud of this. But at the same time, yeah, that's what got the ball rolling for doing all this stuff. Even doing the videos. The videos just started as like, oh, like this could just be another way to like get the word out about the podcast, like play some of the games that we talk about on the podcast. And then it was like, okay, I play too many games, I can't talk about everything on the podcast, so now I'm gonna do videos. And like videos have kind of become more of the main thing that we do. I mean, we still do a podcast every week, but it's almost secondary to the videos and stuff.
Oh, one more little note about Outfoxed is all the paintings on the wall are very small, de-resed reproductions of classic art paintings.
Oh, that's amazing. I thought you were gonna maybe say they were like people's like profile pictures or something like that from like their characters.
One of them's Starry Night, one of them's a Caravaggio, one of them's a Jackson Pollock. Just like, I thought it would be kind of fun to like, just like, I kind of did that as like a little like peaceful thing for myself, and I do that a lot in my games. Like in Project Maiden, there's like, they're just little procedural flower gardens, because I felt like making flowers. So I like, to get better at pixel art, I cracked open this book called Flowers of New England, and
nice.
I just made little pixel versions of that of those flowers to get a little better at making pixel art. And then I ended up throwing it up in the game as like little procedural gardens. So you like run through a forest and you'll see flowers, and those are different every time. So like, yeah, I do like to incorporate like little just exercises that end up to be like, you know, little fun tips in the game. Just little fun facts.
Yeah, I feel like other than the wallets and stuff, I think I looted this whole place.
Yeah, you like got everything, I think.
Let's get out of here. Oh no, there is a bottle of wine there, but that's okay. I got my high life here. I don't need the idea of the duck noises. That's such a great effect too, just like having the duck as like the alarm essentially.
That is Sam Lindstrom, who is a good friend of mine. He does a lovely webcomic, and you're in the straightaway. Oh, okay. Sorry, you
yeah, I barely made it out of there alive. Yeah.
Yeah, I went onto my Twitter and I was like, do I know any? It was like the last day I was working on this game. I was like, and I was trying like desperately to do duck noises into my microphone. And like watching like the Donald Duck tutorial on YouTube, trying to make the duck sound.
Yes.
And I just couldn't do it, and I couldn't bring myself to like not do a proprietary effect for that. So I went on my Twitter account and said, "Do I know anyone who can do duck noises?" And my buddy Sam was like, "Yeah, I can record myself doing some duck noises." And they were perfect, and they're an iconic part of the Outfoxed experience.
Oh yeah, this was so cool to see these extra levels. Like, yeah, again, like it was really cool. Like even with the like browser version of the game, like to just be like, okay, let me like just dive into this same mansion, kind of memorize the patterns. But now obviously you can just do that on even more levels on the EXE version here.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. That's like. Outfoxed is, again, it was a lot of trouble to make, but like I'm very proud of the game it grew up to be. So it's a fun memory now. It's a stressful one.
Well, as somebody who's playing it, I'll say I guess I can't really say if it was worth the trouble or not, but to me it feels like it was worth the trouble because it's so cool. It's really one of the more like unique games of the collection. Not all your games are super unique, but this is like, I don't know. It's a little it's extra special, I feel.
I'm glad you liked it. Do we want to move on to a new one?
Yeah. What are you feeling? What are you feeling next?